Okay.
Oh, great. Finally.
Finally.
Finally, yes. So that means, yeah, last week there was a problem with Instagram.
Yeah, I know.
Yes. It's so good to see you. I'm sure the session is going to be even more interesting because we can see you now.
Hope so.
Yes.
Hope so.
Right. Welcome everyone to the Fit Geek Show. Today, yet again, we have Shihan Pervez Mistry with us. As decided, every Monday at 3 p.m., we're going to discuss about different aspects of fitness related to martial arts, particularly the Goju Ryu Karate Do. So, Sensei, thank you so much for taking out the time again and sharing your knowledge with us.
My pleasure and privilege. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And today's topic of discussion is resistance training using traditional methods of Goju Ryu Karate Do and also Sanchin Kata. And we'll go a little bit in depth with some questions as to how normal workouts are different than traditional Goju Ryu Karate workouts. So,
Yeah, sure.
Sensei, yes. To begin with, why is resistance training so important for martial artists, and what are the different methods that the Goju Ryu Karate has incorporated to incorporate resistance training for karatekas?
Okay. Well, over here, one is why is resistance training important in any martial art, and how does
Correct.
it help with combat? That's the first
Yes,
half.
yes, yes.
So there are actually two separate questions over there. And then could you
Yeah,
please
yeah.
explain in depth about the traditional ways of resistance training in Goju Ryu Karate? Okay. So you
Correct.
start with the first. In any and all physical endeavor, it's the muscles of the body that perform the work required.
Hmm.
Okay.
Correct.
Either by contracting, that is tensing the muscle, or by lengthening, that is extending the muscle. Okay.
Correct.
This in itself, by itself, is resistance training of a sort. Okay.
Hmm.
And it is compounded when when the muscle itself experiences a load or a
Hmm.
force, right? And either internally by giving yourself the resistance, like in a push-up or a squat, where gravity is working against you and you're working with gravity, or when an added weight is increased, like if you're doing a barbell squat or a dumbbell squat or whatever. Okay.
Hmm.
Uh, the type of resistance training will depend on the martial art that one is doing. For
Hmm.
example, a person who's training in judo will actually train in weight training exercises to
Hmm.
develop more power, to develop more force, and keep increasing the weight successively. He will even try to do things like deadlifts, heavy deadlifts, right, or clean and press,
Hmm.
basically powerlifting.
Hmm.
Uh, because judo involves grappling.
Correct.
Okay, you catch
Hmm.
the opponent by his gi, and then you try and throw him down. And so there are basically two techniques in judo: the throwing technique and the grappling technique. The
Hmm.
throwing technique is divided into two categories: standing techniques and lying down or sacrifice technique called sutemi waza,
Okay.
where you throw
Okay.
yourself on the ground in order to throw your opponent.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay.
Great.
Uh, for example, the stomach throw. You put your leg inside the opponent's stomach, lie down on the ground, and flip him over.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that's tomoe nage, basically. All right.
Hmm.
Uh, and then you have the grappling aspect, which involves a lot of strength, a lot of resistance, because your body weight. There are three types of grappling in judo. One
Okay.
is where you grapple and you hold your opponent down for between 25 to 30 seconds. If it's 25 to 30, you get a half point. If it's 30 plus, you get a full point, you win the match. This used to be in the old days. They've changed the rules a little bit now. You
Okay.
have a quarter point, a half point, and a full point, and 2 points, and three
Hmm. Hmm.
points, and ad infinitum. So uh, this was in my days, it was just 1 point, half
Hmm.
point, and 1 point. Uh, the other way of taking down your opponent was to strangle him. Either you strangle him, which means you choke him, the air supply, or you strangle. There are two. Choke is one, strangle is two, where you cut off the blood supply by cutting off the jugular vein and carotid artery going up to the brain.
Correct.
And this depends entirely on the referee. So the referee has to be
Hmm.
really spot on.
Hmm.
And the minute he senses that the opponent is kind of fading off, he will stop the might and award you the point, and that's it. The third
Hmm.
method is a bone lock, essentially on the arm, on the elbow joint. Okay, no other bone locks
Hmm.
are allowed. Like you can't do a neck lock, you can't do a spine lock, you can't do a knee lock.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay, only
Hmm.
the elbow joint. So again, it depends on the referee. If he feels that the
Hmm.
guy's elbow is going on about to be dislocated, he'll stop the fight and award you the point. So these are the three
Oh.
types. So you can understand uh, why it's important for body mass and power training to keep a person pinned down, so to speak.
Correct.
Or if
Hmm.
you're pinned down, to throw him off. So this
Hmm. Hmm.
requires a
Hmm.
lot of training. Okay?
Hmm. Hmm.
And as against the karate person who basically relies on punches, kicks,
Hmm.
strikes, and blocks. That's the basic arsenal that he has. All
Hmm.
right? So now, so again, it depends, as I said in my last interview with you, on the specificity of training.
Correct.
Okay? Uh, if you're a swimmer, you won't do weight training. I mean, very powerful, heavy power training or anything. If you're playing
Hmm.
badminton or table tennis or tennis, you won't do, power training. You'll do plyometrics, you'll do other type of stuff. You'll do
Hmm.
suspension training.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay?
Hmm. Hmm.
So it depends on what you want out of your training. What are you looking for? You're looking to be a bodybuilder? Fine. You're looking to
Hmm.
be a karateka? Equally fine. No hassle.
Hmm.
Okay? But you have to change your training according to what you intend to do.
Okay.
Right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
having said that, a karate person will do high repetitions exercises along with plyometric training and with a limited amount of weight training. But the weight training is a little different for a karateka. Normal
Hmm.
weight training, you do body part training, the upper body, lower
Correct.
body. Okay, it depends on what you
Yes.
want to build more. You want to build your
Hmm. Hmm.
legs,
Hmm.
fine. You want to build your upper body, you want to build your abs, the different forms of resistance training that goes along with it. Okay,
Correct.
all right.
Hmm.
I personally, I can recount my own personal experience when I was running a gym. Okay, and at that time, I was doing regularly very heavy weight training. Like I was squatting with 240 pounds,
Okay. Well.
and I was doing a leg press with 800 pounds plus four people
Okay.
standing on the machine. Yeah, that's about
Okay.
1,400 pounds.
Yeah.
Okay, and I had the
Hmm.
vertical leg press, not the horizontal leg press. I had the vertical leg
Correct.
press.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then I used to do a bench press with how much was it? With about 80-pound dumbbells. I really did a barbell bench press. I used to prefer
Okay.
dumbbells. I had a shoulder
Okay.
injury, so it was easier for me to do
Yes.
uh,
With the
dumbbells and
dumbbells. Correct. Hmm.
yeah, yeah. So and I looked very good, and suddenly I found that I was increasing in size.
Hmm.
Okay. But when I went to the dojo, I found that I was sluggish. I couldn't move. I couldn't
Hmm.
punch.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
couldn't punch fast. People were blocking my punch, whereas previously they could never block my punch.
Hmm.
And even today, out of if I round up 10 people and I punch them, I'll get through at least 9 of them without them being able to block me.
Hmm.
Okay, so yes, size does inhibit speed. I'll come to
Hmm.
that a
Hmm.
little later down the line,
Sure.
answering a few other questions, and
Hmm.
I'll explain why and how. Okay, so it's a short trade-off between big muscles and high speed, depending on each person's framework. You're built with a
Hmm.
certain frame. Your height ends off as a certain. Some people go up to 6 feet, 6.5 feet. Some people
Correct.
remain like me at 4 feet, 5 feet, nothing type of thing.
Hmm.
Okay, but uh, so having said that, it depends on each individual's prerogative, so to speak.
Hmm.
You know what he wants to do with what he has and how
Okay.
he wants to achieve it. Okay.
Hmm.
Uh, for example, if you're in a white stance like a shikodas, okay, and you're holding that, that becomes an isometric position.
Correct.
Correct.
Correct. Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
So your body is in isometric state. Now you're punching. So you're doing isotonic movements with the arm, right? When you're punching.
Hmm.
So it's a
Hmm.
combination of isotonic and body isometric. As
Hmm.
your
Hmm.
stance settles down in the ground, you get
Hmm.
the power of the ground coming up into your thighs, into your legs, into your glutes, into your back, and then the power starts coming out. So the first 50 punches for the next 60, 70 punches, 100 punches. You just keep
Hmm.
going on and on. And then it comes fluid. You're not thinking anymore. You've
Hmm.
gone
Hmm.
beyond the pain threshold, so to speak.
Hmm.
Okay, and you're just boom, boom. Your hands are just going way out.
Hmm.
And so that in itself is a type of resistance training. Okay, because you're
Correct.
working your
Yes.
muscles all the time. You're working your lower body muscles by staying in position. You're getting
Hmm.
your chains, your diametric alongside chains, your opposite chains coming into your power, and you're getting your
Hmm.
core muscles pushing your hand out for that
Hmm.
maximum amount of force and speed.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that in itself is a type of physical training
Hmm.
or resistance training, basically.
This is really correct.
Okay,
Hmm.
using both isotonic and isometric. So in how do you so both these techniques, both these aspects of isotonic movement, fast, repetitive, and isometric positioning, okay, develops a lot of resilience and strength and power
Okay.
in the traditional method of training in karate.
Hmm.
Okay, the same thing goes when you're in a cat stance, for example, and you're doing 100 kicks with the front leg, and then you switch and you do 100 kicks with the back leg. So
Hmm.
that the as you know, the cat stance is 90%,
Yes. Hmm.
98% on one leg and just
Yes.
2% on the other leg.
Correct. Hmm.
Doing techniques from here, cat stance is it's exactly demonstrate the agility and speed and versatility of a cat,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Okay, so uh, it's very important to understand the the type of musculature or the type of muscle contraction and relaxedness, okay, in the execution of a technique, of a punching technique,
Hmm.
for example, right?
Hmm.
Uh, in in Japan, it's normally kime. Kime is when you focus that all that power into that one instant on the Makhivara, or on the hitting board, on the punching bag, or whatever you're hitting. Okay.
Hmm.
Whereas against in Okinawan karate, you have what we call muchimi. Muchimi. And muchimi is the concept of hard and soft. Soft when you relax. So your muscles are
Hmm. Hmm.
relaxed, they're highly responsive. They're highly
Hmm.
responsive. A relaxed
Right.
muscle is much faster than a stiff muscle or a contracted muscle.
Correct.
Like if you
Hmm.
tighten your bicep and try to make a punch, it's going to be very slow.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Okay? Right?
Yeah.
But if you keep it loose and you go bang,
Hmm.
okay, so did you see that punch?
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, it just went and yeah, it just came and went. So it's like that. Yeah.
So, so that's what develops speed. This constant type of traditional training is what develops speed.
Hmm.
The understanding behind it. Okay, I keep telling my students, don't tighten up, don't tense up. You're wasting your energy. Relax,
Hmm.
then punch. So it's only at the point of contact that the whole
Correct.
body
Hmm.
goes into a rigid instant of rigidness, and
Hmm.
your arm becomes like a steel bar
Hmm.
at the point of contact, and immediately after that it's relaxed again.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
this is uh, the type of training we do, either on the heavy bag for the kicking and on the Makhivara for the punching and strikes. Okay.
Hmm.
Uh, Now, how does this work in combat?
Hmm.
Basically, the secret of any type of martial art training, okay, is like Dr. Jigoro Kano. When asked what is the secret of judo, he was the founder of judo from
Okay.
jiu-jitsu. And when he founded judo, he used to say, always said that there are three secrets in judo, and that can be aligned with any martial art. And the
Hmm.
secrets are practice, more practice, and much more practice.
Okay.
It's as simple as that. Okay.
Hmm.
Uh, I was just watching a YouTube video of Jigoro Kano and one of Mifune. Mifune was also one of the top men and a 10 dan in judo. And
Hmm.
he was 82 when he took on a challenge of fighting 7 dans and 8 dan about in the 50s and 60s. All right. And not one of them could throw him.
Oh,
You should see that video. It's on YouTube. You should see that
okay.
video.
I'll watch it. Hmm.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And he did throws like you wouldn't even think of attempting today. Okay?
Hmm.
As I still have that thing in mind floating across. It's just amazing how he does it. And the same thing holds good for the uh, the karate older generation of karate people, right?
Hmm.
I'll come to that again a little later. So, in to answer your second part of the first question, how does it help with combat? How does this type
Hmm.
of resistance training? So basically, you it is the integration of musculoskeletal muscles that enables the karateka to defend, attack, or strike his opponent.
Hmm.
Any action that you do, even if you're twitching a little pinky like this,
Hmm.
requires two things. It requires your brain, right? It requires
Hmm.
your spinal column and the
Correct.
nerve.
Hmm.
That's your
Hmm.
neuromusculoskeletal combination,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? To the most uh, technical application of a movement, like a combination of a movement in a kata, which requires control, combination of hand and leg, upper body, lower body, breathing, and you're moving at the same time. So all this requires your neuromusculoskeletal to be in top peak. And this only
Hmm.
comes with repeated action of the same technique
Hmm.
time and again.
Hmm.
That's
Hmm.
why in our system of karate, it's very important that we train in basics all the time. Just
Hmm.
basic
Hmm.
technique.
Correct. Hmm.
Okay. And it is this type of training that, for example, there are certain things that are built in your body system, like reflexes. Okay. Right. The plant is a reflex. When the doctor uses that bottom of the hammer, and
Yes.
if your toes curl inward instinctively.
So yes.
That's to see
Hmm.
whether the nerves over there are working or not.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay, especially in accidents and bike accidents and car accidents, people suddenly lose their sensation in the lower limbs on the upper
Hmm.
limb, right? And then the resilient reaction is the knee jerk. You know, when he
Hmm.
hits the hammer on just at the bottom of the patella on the side, and the
Hmm.
foot reflexes upward. These are
Hmm.
born reflexes. This is called the segmental reflex. Now
Hmm.
imagine you're walking on a beach and you're barefoot and you suddenly step on a sharp piece of glass.
Hmm.
Automatically the foot comes off. You don't think about lifting
Yes.
the foot. It's not
Yes.
a conscious
Yes. Correct.
reaction. It's a subconscious reaction. And your
Hmm.
body is trying to judge your balance by hopping on one foot.
Hmm.
Okay, until you realize it'll be easy if I sit down. Then you sit down, and then you take the piece
Hmm.
of glass out of your foot. Right. So all these, so
Hmm.
these are natural reflexes that we are born with, and we compound these reflexes. For example, if somebody suddenly flicks his hand across your face, you blink. You don't think about blinking. You don't tell yourself, "Close my eyes. He's going to poke me in the eye."
Hmm.
You blink without conscious
Correct.
thought. The
Hmm.
same way, a person who's doing 4 years of karate training and somebody attacks him, his hand will come up in a block. 10
Hmm.
years down the line, somebody attacks him again, his hand, and he's already countering the punch.
Hmm.
30 years more down the line, if he still continues, all right,
Hmm.
he will be subduing the opponent before the opponent knows that he's about to attack him. And I've seen this happen with Higahana sensei, with Kina sensei, with Higa sensei, all these old Aragaki sensei, all these
Hmm.
old people, right? And I've seen this actually happen. So I know what I'm talking about because I've been there,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? Uh, to give you an example, a small example, we were training with Aragaki sensei, the five of us, and he suddenly called all of us and he said, any person attack, anytime, okay? And continue attacking,
Hmm.
don't stop.
Hmm.
So, I mean, at that time he was in his 70s. I'm talking about many
Oh
years ago.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's in his 90s now. So,
Okay.
yeah. So he was in his 70s. And we were all within, I was 50 plus, and the others were in the
Hmm.
30s. So much stronger than him. He was a small man. He's
Hmm.
not a big man.
Hmm. Hmm.
And not one of us could touch him. Not one of us could touch him. This is the type of instinct that this person had, that even before I was going to kick him and punch him, he knew what I was going to do, and he'd hide behind the other person next to him, or he'd push one into the other. So we couldn't get at him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I'll never forget that. This is what
In
this
fact,
type of training.
yeah, I've
Sorry?
read I've read in your book as well. This one of these instances happened with you as well, where your friend had tapped on your shoulder at somewhere near Kulaba, and you like threw him. Could you please tell us the story?
I was walking in Colaba and I heard this voice, the old Parsi sweet saying, so to speak, right? So, and I got this huge slap on my shoulder and neck. So I just
Hmm.
ducked down, caught the hand and threw him over my shoulder. As I was throwing him, it was an elderly gentleman who was a personal friend of the family. So I immediately righted up. He fell on his feet, fortunately, because I didn't throw him down. And
Hmm.
then I got the worst sweet saying, sweet nothing, so to speak, from him. And everybody on the street was laughing their head off.
Hmm.
So, uh, yeah, that did happen. It's your basic instinct of the years of training.
Correct.
And one of these is the ukemi, which is falling practice. Okay, learning how to fall, learning how to roll without injury. I've fallen off hundreds of times off the bike, and fortunately managed to save myself.
Wow.
Okay, so and a lot of my students, they catch the locals, right? And they're either running for the local or they're running off the local before the local stops. They're running off, and they fall. Sometimes they fall. The only thing that saves them is the falling practice they've been doing for years and years. That's the only thing that saves them. So it's this instinct that this type of training entails and works. Okay? Then you mentioned over here, I think, yeah. So resistance training in Goju Ryu, right? Traditional.
Yes.
Resistance training.
Yes.
Okay. All right. There are many traditional implements that we use in traditional Goju Ryu. And I'll take one after the other. First is the Chishi. Which is basically this.
Ah, you have it. Okay. Yes.
Okay, it's a weighted end with a handle. All right. And you do various exercises which enhance the punching muscle, the striking muscles, and the blocking muscles, and the upper body. It also helps in developing the core. Okay. I'll just show you. Is it okay if I show something?
Yeah, please, no problem.
Okay. All right. So here, can you see me?
Yes.
So here I'm holding the chishi here like this, right? And it's a free flow movement like this with contraction. Now this becomes isometric. And again, isotonic. Okay? And then you do so that enhances your breathing and your core. Okay? That's your glutes, your legs, your back. And a lot of these actions are taken from the techniques themselves. Like for example, this movement here. This comes from your punching action. So, and I've just done 2 or 3 repetitions, but normally in the Chishi training session, you do, with the punching movement, you do about 50 in one hand, 50 in the other, and then again another 50, another 50. And these are normally 10, 20 repetitions, 10 repetitions, or 5 repetitions in each hand. And that's how you progress. Okay? It also enhances your breathing and your gripping strength, which is very important in our system of karate.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Then you come to the Kongo Ken. Sorry. Another thing about the Chishi. All right. We use it for conditioning, where you roll the Chishi on the shin. And you make the shin very strong. Or you use it as a punch.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You can also use it as for urete, for conditioning your inside and outside of the forearms. So It can be used for quite a few different types of techniques.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. So that's your chishi. The Congo Ken is a pipe. Okay. Hollow pipe,
Mm-hmm.
U shape, but closed at both ends.
Mm-hmm.
It's normally about 5 feet in height. The inside of the U is about shoulder width, maybe a little less. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it weighs from anything between 20 kgs to 50 kgs.
Okay.
Okay, for the seniors, which is black belts plus and big guys, uh, they use the chishi, which is filled with sand, partially
Mm-hmm.
filled with sand. Not completely, partially filled with sand. So
Partially.
what happens is when you're moving the chishi up and down, it's changing its gravity and positioning. So it becomes
Mm.
extremely unwieldy. It becomes very unwieldy, exactly like a human body.
Correct. Correct.
It's not set like a barbell, right?
Mm.
That's uniform.
Mm.
A human body is very unwieldy. It'll collapse. It'll do anything you want. Okay,
Yes.
same thing with the
Mm.
Congo Ken because it shifts the weightage is shift. The center of gravity shifts all the time in any
Mm.
in any action that you're doing with it, and it's used in lifting, pulling, grabbing, striking,
Mm.
uh, and shoving,
Mm.
and can be used with two people at the same time or one person at the same time. Like one person will hold one end and I hold the other at the U shape,
Okay.
opposite ends of the U shape. We're holding it like this, and we're in the Shikodacha white stance. Then
Okay.
you move, you shift to one side and you twist.
Oh.
Then you move
Mm-hmm.
again to the opposite side and you twist. So as you're
Mm.
moving, you're twisting, you move. So you're working your chest, you're working your lats, you're working your traps, you
Yeah.
work
Mm.
just about everything,
Full body, everything.
and
Yeah.
full body, and the core,
Mm.
everything from the
Mm.
shoulders down to the knees.
Mm.
So that's your Kongo Ken. Then you have Nigrigame, which is basically clay jars used for storing rice, clay pots,
Mm.
and it has
Mm.
an upturned lip.
Okay.
And there's a very special way of holding on to the lip in order to lift it. And a lot of
Mm. Mm.
sanchin training is done with this, with the Nigrigame. The
Mm.
sanchin stance, moving forward and back in the sanchin stance, as well as moving in the white stance, the shikodash, the low stance. So that
Mm.
develops
Mm.
a lot of heaviness in the legs, powerful legs,
Mm.
glutes, and again the core, okay,
Mm.
and your gripping strength. So there's a certain special way of gripping. Gripping is very important in Goju because Goju is a close system of combat, close combat.
Mm.
We don't
Mm.
fight
Mm.
at a distance like some of the other styles.
Mm.
Okay, we fight in
Mm.
close. If an opponent's attacking me, I'll go into him. I won't step away from him.
Mm. Mm.
Okay, or I'll step away and move in immediately. So, so in that process, if you're
Mm.
gripping his arm, your little fingers right near the ulna tensor, which is
Mm.
a nerve plexus, and if you press this hard enough, if you've got a strong grip, you can paralyze the whole hand. Your opponent
Wow.
won't be able to
Okay.
use his wrist at all.
Oh.
Okay. If your
Mm.
opponent's attacking you and you just move and you pinch the trapezius muscle, there's a plexus
Mm.
of nerve just at the baseline of the neck and
Yes.
inside the
Mm.
collarbone. All right.
Mm.
Yeah. In fact, if you take your finger and press inside, deep inside the collarbone, just here, you'll feel an
Mm.
agonizing pain.
Oh yeah.
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 Then there's the shoulder plexus here. So,
Mm.
here, just on the joint of the shoulder.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the soft
Yeah.
area. So if you press inside there with your thumb, press it with your thumb.
Wow.
Ah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So all these
It
areas.
doesn't take too much effort to cause
No,
pain.
it doesn't. It doesn't. It
Yeah.
doesn't. But you
Hmm.
have to always be very careful with pressure points.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
because it doesn't work with everybody.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it doesn't work with everybody. Some people have uh, some funny pressure points, so it's very difficult to get the exact location. And
Hmm.
you're pressing with all your might, and nothing happens, and he's laughing at you. And what the hell is going on over there? You know. So just
Hmm.
like some people are extremely flexible,
Yes, yes.
they can touch the
Hmm.
finger at the back of the hand.
Hmm.
So you're twisting the fingers, and you're waiting for him to cry out in pain. He's laughing. There's nothing's happening to him.
Hmm.
So you have to be a little careful when you're applying these pressure points, and it's
Hmm.
much better to knock a person out than subdue him.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Hmm.
So there you have the Kongo Ken and the Nigrigame, and you have the Ishisashi, which are stone dumbbells, the wooden dumbbells, weighted dumbbells. They've got a little
Okay.
handle with a block underneath it, and you use it
Okay.
exactly like for your punching actions. You use it like a
Oh,
punch.
okay.
Yeah. You use it like a
Hmm.
strike. You use it like a shito. You're holding it new.
Hmm.
You know. So it's basically a cylindrical. Ishisashi. It's a wooden or stone dumbbells used in punching, striking, blocking action,
Hmm.
and it develops and helps in developing speed and power and strength, muscular resistance, basically. Especially if you're
Hmm.
doing a punch, 200 punches, 100 punches each hand. So then you
Hmm.
start feeling that strain, and it enhances your muscle memory for your
Oh.
reflexive training.
Correct. Hmm.
Okay. Then we have tantan. The tantan is a simple barbell which you either use as a regular barbell for shoulder press or for squats, but we also use it for a different purpose, conditioning. You
Oh,
hold
okay.
the barbell in your hand like the here on your forearm here, okay,
Hmm.
and then you flick the barbell in the air, and it lands on your hand, and then you roll the barbell down the forearm. Then you flick
Wow.
it back in the air, and you it lands on your hand. So this is
Sounds
one.
really
The other
painful.
one.
Sounds really painful. Yeah. Hmm.
Don't try it, please. And
Yeah.
everybody listening, please don't try it. Okay, unless you've got a sensei standing next to you who's done it before and can show you how to do it.
Correct. Hmm.
Okay. Uh, it was a funny episode that happened with this. Uh, I had a student. I still have a student. It's the same student who's now in the karate. He used to come to my gym
Hmm.
first,
Hmm.
and he saw me doing this one day in the gym, with flicking the barbell and taking on hands. And he went white in the face, completely white in the face. He turned around and ran off. So I was wondering what the hell happened. So I put it down and I went after him and I asked him. He says that he'd seen a TV show of me doing this exact same technique. And he tried it in the gym. And the pain he went through, he'll never forget in his life. And he still remembers the pain. Fortunately, he didn't break his hand. Thank God. So,
Hmm.
yeah, it's all these techniques need the watchful stare of a sensei.
Hmm.
Even a simple Makhivara, you can break your knuckles, you can
Hmm.
damage your wrist, you can damage your shoulder.
Hmm.
Just hitting the
Hmm.
Makhivara, for example.
Hmm.
Then this is what we come down to, the Makhivara. This is one of the most traditional implements used maximally in the dojo. Okay, it's basically a wooden piece about 5 feet in length, 6 inches wide at the base, and about 4 inches at the top, and it's curved at the top. It's not square.
Hmm. Hmm.
And at the bottom end, it's about 3 inches thickness, and it tapers down to about quarter-inch or half-inch thickness. Okay? So it's flexible. It's flexible. When you punch it, it rebounds type of thing. It's flexible. And depending on how you place the Makhivara, how it's placed, you can make it very hard or you can make it easily flexible. Okay, so that's about it. And we normally use a leather cover on it. Okay, a lot of people also use rubber padding and then tape it with sticky tape. Okay, so it depends on how developed you are in your training. If you wanted a soft hit or not, a medium hit or a hard hit, it depends on the type of padding you use. Okay, a very easy method is to get a bunch of newspapers. Okay, place them on and then tape it onto the Makhivara.
Okay.
Rolled up newspapers, rolled up and flattened newspapers. Okay, so one end is this way and the other end is this way. So about 5, 6 together, and then you tape it around the Makhivara. So that's another good hitting surface. You feel good. It's like hitting a body. Type of thing. Okay, so and it is used to condition the different areas of the hand. The first two knuckle, which is the seiken, here, as you can see. Okay.
Oh yeah, I can see.
Yeah. So first two knuckles, then the outer hand edge of the hand shuto, then the back of the hand ura ken, ura uch. Okay. This is used for bone areas. The knuckles are used to hit bone. Okay, like temple, jaw. All right. The flat of the hand, the back of the hand. All right, is used to use soft body areas, the solar plexus, the kidneys, okay, the lower abdomen, the bladder area, all that. Then the bottom of the fist, Tetsu, which is, okay, waxing, hell of a wallop, because it travels a distance, big distance, and comes down. You can hit your opponent on the head with it. You can hit him on the chest with it. All right. You can hit him down in the groin area, or you can hit him behind in the kidney area. Okay, and because of its swing and the whole body force coming into it, it packs one of the strongest hits in karate. It's a very dangerous technique to use. Then you have shote, which is the palm heel, of course, right? And then you have the wrist or kakuto, this area of the wrist. You slam it in the face. Like imagine a person is holding your hand. So you release the hand and you go straight bang into his face. Okay, so different techniques, of course. Then you have the Tetsu Suripa. Basically, this is an iron slipper. Like the normal flip-flops you have. Okay, so it's the same thing, but made out of iron. So it's about 3 kgs, 5 kgs, 7 kgs.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, and you grip it with your toes. All right, and you use it as a maigiri, as a front kick. You do all the kicking techniques with it, basically. A side kick, sunset to geri, kick to the knee, a front kick, a circle kick, a back kick with the slipper. This develops tremendous power in your legs, in your glutes, and the minute you take it off and you kick, and you suddenly feel your leg is flying.
Yeah, sure.
So that's basically the iron slipper, so to speak. Then you have a cylindrical wooden post embedded into the ground. Up, it's about 5 feet, maybe a little less than 5 feet, and you use it to
Hmm.
condition the outside of your arms, the inside of your arms, okay, kicking with your shin, all right? And
Hmm.
shin kicking is also done with the heavy bag, against the heavy bag, all right? Or
Hmm.
the traditional method was, what do we call it? I forget the name now. Cane, thin cane.
Oh, correct. Hmm. Hmm.
Okay? It's about this big in length, about
Okay.
3 feet in length, very thin,
Hmm.
the size of my little finger. A bundle
Hmm.
of it, and it's made in a bundle loosely tied together, okay, or taped,
Hmm.
basically.
Hmm.
And a rope is passed through the center, and the rope is pulled onto two pillars or posts or whatever, and then you kick
Hmm.
that with your shin. Initially, you'll be hopping, thinking your
Yeah.
shin is
Yeah.
broken. But
Hmm.
slowly, the shin gets very hard. Now, the conditioning has two uh, main points in its favor. One is that your bones become so hard and strong, okay, that should you hit anything hard, your hand won't break. Whatever the object is, that might end up breaking, right?
Hmm.
So if a
Hmm.
person hits you or is coming to punch you in the face, and you do a simple block, just a simple block. So your
Hmm.
upward action with his downward action, right, will result in his arm getting fractured.
Hmm.
So your defensive movement has become an attack.
Correct. Hmm.
Okay, all you've done is
Hmm.
a block, and this actually happened on the street with one of my students.
Hmm.
There was an altercation. He tried to. This other guy came out with a screwdriver to hit him on the head, or to pierce him, stab him. All he did was block, and the guy broke his arm.
Oh God.
Fortunately, it's very close to the Breach Candy Hospital, so the anyway. So yeah, there you have it. So that's one concept of using. I've known a lot of people, untrained people, got into a fight and punched the guy in the face, broken
Hmm.
his knuckles, fractured his knuckles.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So that is why it is very important to condition these areas so you
Hmm.
prevent
Hmm.
injuries to yourself. Okay.
Hmm.
The other more important factor, I would say, at least, is even light conditioning, even if you just do this to your hands every day, you know, 50, 60, or twice a day, 30,
Hmm.
30, like this, yeah,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
right? You slowly condition your hands. What happens is that you get
Hmm.
microfractures. They're not of any consequence. They won't hinder any application of yours or any hand movements, nothing. Even light
Hmm.
conditioning like this, all right? But what it will do is it regenerates, helps in generating your red blood cells and your white blood cells. So
Hmm.
your oxygenation is far more into the whole body system because of the rejuvenation and rebuilding of your red blood cells, which happens in the
Hmm.
uh, marrow of your long bones, your shin bones, your arm bones,
Hmm.
your hand bones, right?
Hmm.
That's
Hmm.
where the regeneration takes place.
Correct.
Your white blood cells also get regenerated because the microfractures need the implementation of the protein molecule to come inside and to bind it and make it stronger,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? Okay, so
Hmm.
that by making it stronger, you regenerate the white blood cells. So your immune system goes up also at the same time.
Hmm. Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
Normally, in old age, people, in the 70s and late 60s and early 70s, 80s, then they fall down, they break something,
Hmm.
right? Okay.
Hmm.
Uh, and over here, even at my age, I fall down, nothing happens. Of course, I know how to fall, that's one part.
Correct.
But the other factor is because of this constant conditioning that I do practically every day, helps in the formation of these red and white blood cells. I'm totally convinced of that. Okay. So there you have it. And okay. Now your next question pertains to how is the regular gym workout different than the Goju resistance training, and which one is more beneficial for the karateka? Again, we come to the
before we get started with that question, I was completely unaware that Goju Ryu had so many kinds of resistance training methods. And that's why we've taken about 1 hour to just answer one question. I just didn't know that there was so much.
Sorry, my apologies.
No, that's completely fine. I never knew all this existed. I just knew about the Makhivara, I just knew about the Chishi and Kongo Ken. That's all. These three things I knew. The other things I never knew about. So the Instagram live video ends itself within 1 hour. So we just have 2 or 3 minutes left. But
all right.
We can surely continue these two questions next time. It's not a problem at all.
Sure. No hassle.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and there are a couple of questions that people have sent me.
Tell me.
No. This is Sensei Rajesh Thakkar complimenting you. He's like, Shihan, you're just too good. Your body's like iron, and you are truly a legend. So, I mean, there are good 10 people watching it live from the past 1 hour, and I'm sure they're benefiting from it. And I'll just turn on the commenting in case somebody wants to comment before we end it. But yeah, Sensei, I mean, very profound knowledge, a lot of wisdom there, and with a lot of good examples. I mean, 1 hour just passed by. I was just listening to you. And that's why at the end, I just checked the time, and it was almost time to like end the live session. I mean, it'll get cut off by itself anyway.
We can take the other two questions next time if you like.
Yes. We can do that. Next Monday, we'll take the other two questions.
Sure.
And I know for sure that Sanchin is your forte. So before we end, I'd like to show this book to everyone. This is the book written by Shihan Mistry. This is the older version. He has a newer version. Sanchin, the three battles.
This is the newer version. This is the newer version.
Yes. And next time we are going to talk about Sanchin as well.
Okay.
And please go ahead.
The new version is available on Amazon.in, and it's also available on Notion Press. The book is published by Notion Press. It's a self-publication. You publish it yourself, and they help you in binding it and all the rest of it. Okay? And it has much bigger, larger fonts. It has larger photographs. It has larger illustrations. So you can actually see what you're reading as against the book you have over there. Okay.
Great. So, Sensei, yes, thank you so much for taking the time and going into such depth for explaining the resistance training part of Goju Ryu Karate. And next time we'll carry forward this conversation.
Arigato gozaimashita.
Arigato. Thank you so much. Arigato.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Thank
you. You too.
Bye.